Hello, I'm Burt Green, this is the Burt Locker, and this is the casual's guide to UFC Vegas 72. This, in a nutshell, is a fast, fun run-through of the entire card. It's light-hearted, you get information on every single fight so that you get the most of the card when you watch the whole thing. So you at least know who the fighters are, you have a bit of background, and you have a bit more fun when you're watching the fights. That sounds good? Stay with me for the Burt Locker Casual's Guide to UFC Vegas 72. So first of all, I would like to say thank you for watching this. Hit subscribe if you could, helps me out a lot. Thank you. On with the show. Hayley Cowan takes on Jamie Lynn North in the 135 bantamweight ladies. 5'8", plays 5'7". No idea on the reach. Hayley, all hail Hayley, great nickname, wonder where you got that from. Got a split decision on the Dana White Contender Series, and she's still got a contract, which is rare, but women's bantamweight is not deep, so they threw her a contract anyway. It was a pretty entertaining fight, I did watch it actually, so to be fair, she was right to get the contract. Nothing jumps out on her resume though. Horth, UFC debut, she fought in LFA, she got 5 wins, 0 losses, all finishes. So I'm going to roll the dice on the debutante on this one. I think that Horth gets the finish. Brian Kelleher taking on Journey Newson in the men's bantamweight division. 5'6", plays 5'5", with a 1.5 inch reach for Newson. Now Kelleher, he's up and down. He's fun to watch. He's got good hands, and don't forget that he did once beat Renan Barão, who was considered once to be the best pound for pound fighter of all time. Kelleher beat that guy, so he, by proxy, he must be one of the greatest. He's got to be in the GOAT conversation, at least. Journey Newson has not had the best run in the UFC. He's had 5 fights with only 1 solitary win, although he got a TKO turned over because he smoked some pot. That is trash. He's a BJJ black belt, and he seems fairly well-rounded. Who knows on this one, to be fair? Look, if it stays standing, Kelleher's got as good a chance as anybody. But Newson, he has a path of least resistance in this one. Kelleher has 8 submission losses on his record. So if you have a BJJ black belt, you need to be taking advantage of a guy who has 8 submission losses. I don't want to tell you how to do your job, Journey Newson, but you need to get the takedown and try and get that rear naked choke because it seems to work for most other folks. Stephanie Egger takes on Irina Alexieva in the 135-pound women's division. Now you've got 5'6", playing 5'8", with no idea on the reach. Egger, she's pretty well-rounded. She's got good judo. She did get golds in Europe's under 23, so that's a while ago now for her. She's got good submissions and she's got decent throws. She's often good to get the arm. Ariane Alexieva, she's called Russian Ronda, which is a terrible nickname because she's not undefeated, so I don't really quite understand that. Well, because Ronda was undefeated at the time. Anyway, either way. Ironically, I think that it may be Alexieva that's thrown around and subbed here because I think that Egger's too much for her. I think she's got her judo's really good and she's got a good armbar. So I think ironically, Russian Ronda is going to get finished by a hip throw and an armbar. And plus, I'd like to stick with my Swiss fighter. Egger is from Switzerland, and one of my good friends, Dave Keane, has an excellent podcast that I tune into, and I'm lucky enough to be a guest on every once in a while. And he lives in Switzerland, so I'd like to give a shout out to Dave. Go ahead and go and watch the DT podcast. It's a really fun watch. Anyway, Cody Durden taking on Charles Johnson, 145-pound featherweight division. 5'7", plays 5'9", with 3-inch reach for Johnson. Durden has a wrestling base, high school mainly. He's well-rounded. He's 6 UFC fights, 3 wins. Nothing remarkable. He looks solid. Charles Johnson, the inner G, has decent power in both hands. He's got good submissions as well. Coin toss, Johnson. Nathan Levy taking on Pete Rodriguez. You've got 5'9", playing 5'9", with both having a 71-inch reach. Now, Nathan, the Israeli, is pretty solid. He's 2 UFC wins, 1 loss. All decisions, though. He does have submissions. No idea on his style, really, but he looks like a tank, so I imagine his conditioning ain't bad. Rodriguez has lost the body off, but he wins the eyebrow off. He is doing the people's eyebrow in his picture, which I respect. I do respect that a lot. 5 wins, all knockouts. He's knocked out Michael Jackson as well, the king of pop. He knocked out Mike Jackson. That's pretty good. I'm taking Rodriguez here. Look, if you can knock out the original Moonwalker, you can knock out Nathan Levy. Julian Erosa versus Fernando Padilla. 145-pound featherweight division. 6'1", plays 6'1". No idea on the reach. Erosa is the 10th Planet guy. I'm not sure on his BJJ rank, but he's very slick with the submissions. He's got 12 of them out of 28 wins. He's got 11 knockouts as well, so he's got danger wherever the fight goes. 5-7 in the UFC as well. Pretty good. Padilla, UFC debut. Decent record. 8 of 14 by submission, so you know where he's going as well. Don't know much else about him. I'm taking Erosa in this one. He's been in the UFC a little while. He's had the experience. He's probably better in all areas. Probably a KO because that evens him up to 12 KOs and 12 submissions. No other reason than that. It's a good enough reason, honestly. Then you've got Martin Buday versus Jake Collier. You've got 6'4", playing 6'3", with a 1.5 inch reach for Collier. Buday looks like he's a slightly out of shape heavyweight. Slovakian. He's got a very Eastern European gang vibe about him. The UFC have him as 3-0, but he's had loads more fights than that. He's got 7 of 11 by knockout. His power hasn't really transferred to the UFC though. He's had all decisions in the UFC so far, so who knows where his skill set's at really. Jake Collier has fought from middleweight all the way up to heavyweight, which I respect a lot because he was a middleweight and now he looks like a very big heavyweight, honestly. But he just looks chunky. He looks like he just doesn't work out. He's very up and down. He's not really beaten anybody remarkable. He tends to get outclassed by better guys such as Aspinall, and he dropped a decision to Orlovsky as well. So it's a tough one. Both of these guys are pretty trash. Buday is probably less trash, so I'm going to take Buday by decision. Then that's all the prelims. Now you've got the main card. So don't forget to hit subscribe if you enjoy this content. Just hit subscribe. Costs you nothing. Just helps me out a lot. Hit the subscribe button. Thank you. Josh Quinlan taking on Ange Lusa. 170 pounds, welterweight division, 6 foot, plays 5'9". Quinlan, the Renegade, looks like an end boss in an 80s kung fu movie. He's currently undefeated. He's got good power in his hands. He KO'd Jason Witt in his last fight, and Jason Witt's not bad actually, to be fair. Ang, the last ninja, loose. He's from the Congo. He's got 5 knockouts, but one of them he won by exhaustion. So I'm not sure about the level he was fighting at in that particular promotion, honestly. Quinlan is undefeated. He's had success in the UFC. I think he should be fine in this one. I think he finds success here. Lusa doesn't look like an end level. He doesn't look like he's end level boss ready, Lusa. So the fact that they're putting him against this end level boss is bad for him. Marcos Rogerio de Lima taking on Waldo Cortez Acosta. You've got Brazil versus the Dominican Republic. The 6'1", playing 6'4", with a 5-inch reach for de Lima. Now, earmark this one for fight of the night. This is my pick for fight of the night. Marcos de Lima is a killer. He looks like he's seen things as well. He looks like he's seen some bad shit. He looks like he's done some bad shit, honestly. So yeah, look, it's just when he swarms on people, he's horrible. He just beats the crap out of them. And he's got a BJJ black belt to fall back on. And it is legit because he's from Brazil. Then you've got Acosta, Salsa boy. He's undefeated. He's won his first 2 UFC fights. Good all-rounder, really. He's got a good work rate, and he has a habit of edging scorecards. Got a couple of good knockouts as well. For me, I think that swarming de Lima is too much for Acosta, and I think he makes salsa out of the Salsa boy. Adolfo Vieira taking on Cody Brundage in the middleweight division. 6 foot, plays 6 foot, 1 inch reach for Vieira. Now, Vieira is a BJJ monster. He's definitely taken a lot of gear in the past because look at the state of him. He won golds in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Worlds, Pan America, ADCC, you name it, he's won gold in it. He's 5-2 in the UFC, or 3 wins by submission. He does often gas out though, when he loses, that is. Cody Brundage has a couple of good wins in the UFC. He beat Dolce Uguiambala and Tracy Gore. He should have the advantage standing here. He really should. He's got a blue belt, and that's not going to help against Vieira. Do not go to the ground against Adolfo Vieira. You'll lose. For me, it's pretty simple. If Brundage can keep it standing, he's got a decent chance to put a pace on and can gas Vieira and make him look terrible. But if not, Vieira will get the submission. Kyle Boralho taking on Michael Oleksiejczuk. I think that's right. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I butchered the name with 17 Z's in it. Give me a break. God damn it. Why? Sorry. Middleweight division, 5'10" versus 6 foot with a 1 inch reach for Barajo. Barajo is a fan of terrible sunglasses. He's a pretty good fighter as well. He's got 3 wins in 2022. Let's see if he continues that. All decisions. He's got a pretty good work rate. Let's see if he can find a finish in this one. Mikhail, 6-4-1 in the UFC. He's on a decent run, to be fair. He's got very good hands. 5 of 6 wins in the UFC are by knockout, and that's really telling, because if you can get those knockouts in the UFC, especially at middleweight, you're doing something nicely, you're doing something well. Mikhail should be too much for the relative newbie in this one. I'm going to take Mikhail by knockout. Then the main event, Song Yadong taking on Ricky Simon in the bantamweight division. It's a stacked division, this one. 5'8", plays 5'6" with a 2 inch reach for Simon. Yadong is a high level sorry, I'm a child. When I say Yadong, it just sounds like you're talking about penises. That I'm a child. I'm sorry. That's why I laughed. Yadong is a high-level Chinese fighter who fights out of Team Alpha Male. He's very good guillotine, like all those guys we've got. He's very strong. He's got good power, particularly body shots. His body shots are very impressive. Solid in all areas, really. Ricky Simone's very impressive, much more impressive than you think he is, actually, because he's 20-3, which is crazy. That's a crazy good record for a UFC fighter. He also beat Jack Shaw, which is so hard to do because he is so good, and he also choked out Merab Dvalishvili. He arguably lost that one, but Merab was out, so it was controversial. So if you can do that to Merab Dvalishvili, like, I'm not being funny, but like Merab's on a high level, like Simone is also very high level. I think that Ricky Simone is on a roll here. He's very, very fun to watch. I think that momentum's a thing. I think he's going to be the more athletic and more physically strong of the two, especially in the grappling exchanges. I think he outworks Yadong in the grappling exchanges. I think he either finds a submission or he gets the decision. I'm gonna take Ricky Simone to beat Song Yadong in that one, and that is the entire fight card in less than 15 minutes. Who else is doing that for you? Nobody. That's who. Probably somebody. Either way, look, if you enjoyed this, hit subscribe. I'll ask you one more time, hit subscribe, and we'll recap all these next week. And until next time, keep those odds long and those bets terrible. Thank you for watching.